Hey, it's Greg Berzinsky for Beardbrand Alliance. Let's talk about beards and politics. Join me. Yes, the web has been abuzz lately with world conflicts and wars, dramatic shifting of political candidates, as well as the Olympics, with or without scandal. Lots of hot topics in the news, and added to that mix are the fact that there are now beards on the political landscape where there haven't been beards before, namely in a vice presidential candidate. Before I go any further, I want to remind you that this is not an endorsement of candidates. This is not really about politics. This is about politics with just a broader scope. So in your comments, please limit them to related to the beard when we talk about beards in politics. With that out of the way, what's happened lately? Well, we have seen the introduction of a possible political candidate who might be in the White House with a predominant beard. This has not happened in a long time. Actually, 111 years. You have to go back to 1913 to see the last beard in the White House. This was with President Taft, and he was the last guy to wear a beard in the White House. There has not been a beard in the White House, unless you count Truman, who apparently sported some type of goatee in the late 40s, but I never saw a picture of him sporting this goatee in a suit. It was always in casual clothes, so I don't know if it was a holiday beard, a vacation beard, or whatever. But for the most part, no guy has had a beard in the White House for over a century. Yes, a century, 100 years. We have not seen beards on the political landscape. That's like crazy. It's just crazy to think that that has happened. You'd have to go back into the 19th century. It was actually Abraham Lincoln who introduced the beard to the White House, into the political scene with his famous whaler beard, his famous chin piece in 1861. And actually from 1861 until 1913, of the 11 presidents who sat, I think it was, 9 of the presidents had some type of significant facial hair, whether it be full beard, mutton chops, or significant mustache. Over 80% of the people who sat in the White House had beards. Pretty significant when you think about it, for a very long time, from 1861 to 1913. What is the shift? What happened? Many people contribute it to Gillette, who invented the safety razor, a disposable razor, and you actually saw for the first time that razors could be easily used by more and more people. That could have contributed to it. Within a few short years, though, you would have seen World War I and servicemen coming back from the war clean shaved. They did not wear beards, even mustaches, during World War I because of the fit of a gas mask. So you have this entire generation of people coming back from the war, aged say 20, 22, 26 years old, at a time where they would be growing their first beards, suddenly not growing their first beards. The impact of that was monumental, and it contributed to the fact that more and more older people would not see beards on their faces either. They would not want to be perceived as old, and that's what the beard was seen as. You were suddenly part of the old guard, you were suddenly part of what was in the past, and you were not part of what was moving forward. The country was changing from more of an agrarian and manufacturing to more of a professional office culture in a way, and more guys were going to the office and setting this image of what a guy in the 20th century looks like, and that guy would be shaved. This would hang around for a long period of time, and it would affect politics accordingly also. You saw almost no facial hair, maybe a small mustache in the 1920s, but in the 30s, 40s, 50s, zero facial hair. It was only related to counterculture that you would see facial hair. You would see facial hair on beatniks. You would see facial hair predominantly on the hippie culture in the 60s and the 70s. And it was always related to a kind of counterculture. It never made it into the mainstream. You didn't certainly see it, maybe exception of an occasional celebrity wearing a mustache, like Sonny Bono or something like that. But for the most part, athletes, entertainment figures, and politicians would all go without a beard. So what shifted? What shifted that all of a sudden you would actually see beards being brought back into culture? There was also that moment in the 90s where there was the beard, and it was related to kind of a counterculture, the grunge movement. All of these things were slightly under the table. So what has brought beards back into heavy rotation? I'm going to say it. I think it's Eric Bandholz and Beardbrand. Going back 12 years or so, Eric made a big plea for using your beard as what God gave you and putting that beard on your face, but also showing ways to groom it. And Beardbrand was born. Beardbrand actually changed the culture of beards. Yeah, there were a lot of other things happening. There was the introduction of the hipster culture, and several other things were happening. But I think it was Eric Bandholz who brought the beard into pop culture in a way that it would look very different from beards, say, in the 60s and the 70s, or the grunge beard. You would see a beard that, even if it was big, it would be well groomed. It would look clean. And that is what was missing in the past. There was a perception that in that older culture, pre-1913, the beards looked old and dirty. And you would see that in the 60s and the 70s. You would see that with grunge culture. The beards would be perceived as being dirty. We have now Beardbrand introducing Beardbrand products that would really change the complexion of the entire industry. Yes, we're not alone. There were other companies doing this also, but Beardbrand was on the forefront, especially on the YouTube channels, of getting out there and showing men how to groom beards, how to style beards, even a big beard, and how to make it look acceptable. So how does that play into politics today? I think you actually see that everyone today, it used to be the odd man out who had a beard. But today, everyone has beard. I talk about this all the time. 90% of the guys at my gym have beards. Every other guy I walk past in the street has a beard. These are a lot of young guys in their 20s and 30s. And you see that across the entertainment industry. You see, people like Leo and Brad and Caesar and all these guys wearing beards. You see it in sports. A ton of beards in sports, from basketball, football to hockey. It seems like every athlete today, a professional athlete, has a beard. All of those arenas have been opened up, from entertainment to sports to your everyday guy. A lot of these guys tend to be on the younger side. And so I think part of it is a movement that has been embraced by the younger man, guys in their 20s, guys in their 30s. I've polled my own daughter, who's in her mid-20s, and she says she and her girlfriends, and you can see that in that video that we did about the college-age girls, they do like guys who have beards. I think there has been basically a blessing by spouses and by girlfriends and by partners to say, yeah, we actually like beards. We actually like the way they look. And so you see more and more and more younger guys wearing beards. Into the political movement, you have someone like J.D. Vance, potential vice president, sporting a beard. He's been wearing a beard for, I think, 3 years now. And I think originally he said he grew it because he basically has a fuller face, and he did it actually to look older. I think he looks great with a beard. It actually improves his looks and actually does maybe add a sense of years maybe to his face. He was concerned that he looked a little youthful with the blush of youth not gone from his face yet, and therefore he grew a beard. And I think you see more and more guys feeling comfortable because of what culture is doing over here. So all of these young guys, with the approval of their spouses, saying, hey, we're a culture now. We're an entire generation of people that are wearing beards, and I think it has trickled down into politics now. Whether these people vote for these candidates or not, that's not the point. The point is that I think political people now seem to have freedom to wear a beard, where in the past, for the past 111 years, it has been seen as unacceptable to wear a beard. I think we have taken monumental steps forward. The politicians that you are seeing today, they are incredibly well groomed. Their beards are tight, wearing more of an executive beard, of course. I don't know if we'll ever get to the point where you're going to see a yard in the White House or in the Senate. But big movement forward to getting more and more guys wearing beards. These beards all look like they are controlled. They are wearing their Beardbrand utility oil.
It just opens up like that whiskey leather scent.
Their Beardbrand utility bombs. They are controlling these beards. And I think that's the difference between what you had seen in those previous decades in the 90s, in the 70s, and in the 50s for the guys who were wearing beards back then. They looked a little more rough. Today's beard is definitely controlled. And I think you see that on the day-to-day basis when you see guys sporting beards. They look generally more controlled. They're as tight as that tight barbershop haircut they're sporting above. Their beards now match that presentation on the top. Where before, the hair was rough, the beard was rough. Today, that hair is neat, those beards are neat. I hope that more people will cross the aisle politically, that you will get more and more candidates, whatever side of the aisle you sit on, that they would cross over and embrace the beard and embrace Beardbrand products to keep those beards looking as good as possible. Not about politics, this is about politicians wearing beards. Until we meet again.